Why do you think that some leaders hide from funding their vision? And then how can those same leaders then lean into funding that vision?
It's such a good question, Harry. I think often people don't do things because they're afraid or they don't know how. And
Mm,
the truth is, some leaders do need funding. They need capital to move their vision forward, whether it's a business or a project or an idea. And it's important for us to share those out in the universe and think about tapping the network and creating collaborative relationships, because you never know. There could be someone who shares the vision and wants to help you put it into practice. But to
mhm,
answer the question very simply, I think sometimes it's fear.
mm. I want to say it's almost every time it's fear, because fear of uncertainty, because
Yeah.
they don't know. Um, and we can explore both sides, I would say. If you want to explore the financial side, I would say most entrepreneurs, and I think I am guilty of that too.
Mhm.
Most entrepreneurs are scared to bet on themselves
Mhm.
early enough that they win. And that could come because they're afraid that this might not work, or that they don't have clarity on how to get it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about it this way, right? If you knew that if you start a business today, it'll take you 10 years
Mhm.
and you have to do these things along the way. But within the 10th year mark, you will be maybe 10 times more profitable as you would from working on a 9 to 5 job. I think 10 out of 10, if people knew the path, they
Mhm.
will take that step every time. The difference, I think, comes along is when if people turn to look for shortcuts, they don't realize that um, what you have to build is different than what the market teaches a lot of times, or
Yeah.
I would say the gurus teach all the time.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I love your thoughts on that. I think you have something that you want to really say.
I do. I do. I'm itching to share. I love that you talked about this long game. You talked about the 10-year plan. And you're right. I think we all get impatient. But when we're building a business, when we're building a vision, it takes time. It's not an
Mhm,
overnight success. There may be wins and there may be failures along the way, and that's okay. But we need
mhm,
to keep our eye on the prize and think
mhm.
about what are the steps we need to get there. And I'll
Yes.
tell you, Harry, I think the most important thing too is to celebrate the wins along the journey, because the challenges are hard and they can get us down and it's really tough and it gets, the fear really festers, but we've got to celebrate the wins.
You are absolutely right on that. And I can personally testify. I can't testify to the level of achieving goals on a bigger level yet, but I can do for small things. This is one thing I was missing from the things I've tried to do in my life was every time I would fail to do something, right? I would say in my mind, "Oh gosh, Harry, you failed to get up on time today," or "Harry, you were supposed to go do these sets of exercise, but or you were supposed to hit that." I play pickleball, uh, so you were supposed to hit that shot that way. So, but realized it very recently that if I celebrate the small wins to a
Yeah.
great degree, it is amazing what impact it has on your brain. Like,
Yeah.
so one time, I think it was very recently, I what was I working on? It was yeah, I was reading some scriptures that I was supposed to do, right? And I have a habit of doing it, not a habit yet, but like it's doing it
Yeah.
at least 30 to 50 minutes a day. And every time I would fail to do so, like I would like, oh geez, Harry, but now I'm like, oh, hey Harry, congratulations, you did 30 minutes of exercise.
Yeah.
I did this very similar thing with my wife. My wife is getting into working out now, and we're like, hey, great job. You showed up for today. Like you worked out for 40, 50 minutes, and that's awesome. And we should go celebrate that. Even though we gain some little bit of calories, I think it's better to celebrate and,
Yeah.
get that those chemicals that affect our brain,
Exactly.
the
It's like
dopamine hit.
the dopamine hit. So I want to give you an analogy that I think is really relevant here, especially since you're talking about working out and pickleball. So I have participated in several charity half marathons where I was
Mhm,
raising money on behalf of an organization that I believed in. Now, admittedly, I am not a runner. That's not my happy place. I'm not the kind of person that just says, I'm going to go for a run. So I had to learn how to run 13.2 miles. And
Mm,
we had trainers who were helping us understand add a little bit more each time. And eventually you'll get there. Your body will condition and train. So the first time was a quarter of a mile, and it was such a celebration to say, I ran for an entire quarter of a mile. And then
mhm.
next time I'm going to work up to a half a mile. And I remember, feeling great about 5 miles and then 7 miles. And you just have to keep adding. So I appreciate your interest there and sharing the wins.
Yeah. And I wanna add one more thing on that. I think going back to looking up to having the picture, like having the eye on the bigger prize, the way you're
Yeah.
really going. But that does not mean that even though it's gonna take you 10 years, that you be lackadaisical in your efforts
Oh
now.
yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
cannot absolutely do that. I think that's most people realize, "Oh, it's gonna take me 10 years. You know what? I can skip this, or I can do that. I can do that." I that will never work because
Yeah.
the effort is with the right direction is what gets you to your goals,
Right.
and learning along the way. If you don't do,
Right.
you will never get there. You'll always keep pushing the goalpost year and year forward.
Well,
So
and you can't cut corners. I like to think of building a foundation, whether it's a business or a movement
exactly.
or a project. If you don't build a solid foundation, your house is going to fall down. So the same
Hmm.
thing with your business. You need to build that solid foundation. And there are things that are going to go wrong, and that's okay. But you need to figure out next time, how do I do better?
Correct. Yes, exactly. You got to learn from what you didn't do.
Yeah,
Um, Maybe analyze, hey, this is why this didn't work, repurpose your strategy, and then go back to the path that you're supposed to be on.
exactly right.
Um, yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. That was a great conversation so far. My next question for you, Caroline, and I think it goes down to what we were just talking about. Um, what tips do you have for leaders or entrepreneurs that you would like to share from your experience you've had over the years?
Yeah, I read an interesting article recently on LinkedIn that talked about how entrepreneurs, especially in the early stages of a business that they're standing up, are terrible at self care. They're taking care of all the things, they're doing all the work, it's exhausting. Often it's a very lean financial time because we're bootstrapping it, trying to make ends meet, and we don't take care of ourselves. And
Hmm.
I've fallen into that trap, right? We have this tremendous energy and enthusiasm. We think I can power through. So, my advice to all of the leaders listening and all of the entrepreneurs is you have one body, one mind. Take care of them, honor them, be good to them. Because if you get sick, it is much more difficult to get healthy again. And it's really important to not lose sight of your health and well being.
Hmm. Going along that, how does an entrepreneur who is who does not think they have time to do these things, how do they include that in their schedule? Like, what do they do? What
Yeah.
did you do?
I mean, I hear you. It sounds, people say, I don't have time. I'm busy all day. I'm working internationally. So I've got morning, noon, and night, right, in different time zones. And I hear that. And I would say, yes. And your body will shut down and take a break because you are exhausted when it is the most inconvenient. So you really do need to honor your body with rest, some movement. I mean, I love how you said you're playing pickleball, you're doing things. It doesn't mean you have to have 2 hours in the gym every day, but even starting with a little walk, take a break, move around, be conscious of what you eat, and be conscious of your stress because the stress can be silently debilitating and very harmful.
Yes. Alan, I want to add to that because you mentioned a great point. Um, and this is something I've very, very, very recently learned. I would say, like, it's been a few months where when people say that they don't have time, I think that's a bogus bullcrap reason.
Yeah,
In reality, the thing is they didn't make time for that
exactly.
because everyone in the world has 24 hours a day. And if you're sleeping that 8 hours, and let's take off another 2 to 4 hours from eating, getting up, etc., things
Right.
you're doing, right? You still have 12 hours of the day. Most people cannot work 12 hours even if they do and be productive at the same time.
Right.
You can't do it. Like your
Right.
body can't handle, your mind will stop working. If
Right.
you have to be some kind of crazy maniac and very, 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 very dedicated to a certain mission in your life, that it's this or die, that you have to be working 12 hours a day continuous to
Right.
do that. And most people don't do that. And even if you work 8 to 10 hours a day, that still leaves you 2 hours to
Right.
do things that and it doesn't have to be, I think it doesn't have to be um just exercise. Or
Agreed.
I play pickleball because I love it. I think it's something to me. When I go do that, I can forget about everything else I do or don't do, or things I fall short of, or things I do well. When I'm playing pickleball, it does not matter. In that 2 3 hours, whatever I give to it, it doesn't matter. And that's what I do it. It's my, I would say it's my zone place.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it, and that's what I think, that's a very important concept. So thank you for sharing that. What was you were? I think you want to add something to it
I
too.
think you said something that really resonated with me. People that are working 12 and 14 hours aren't doing good work. You know, their
Mm,
bodies are exhausted. And I agree, we've got to make time or we've got to prioritize time because I'd much rather have 8 hours of incredible work where I was doing my best work than 12 hours of mediocre work, right? Where my body was trying so hard to just stay focused. And I think people, even very ambitious entrepreneurs, the busy badge of honor does not really work. And we need to change the culture. Because what if you work so hard that you're exhausted and you become sick, and then you can't take your business to the next level because
mm-hmm.
you've worked 14 hours a day for a year? I
Yeah.
guarantee no one can be healthy and work that much without
Yeah.
rest and recuperation. And you're right,
Exactly.
it's not just physical activity. Rest is really important. And I'm not just talking about sleeping. It might be some quiet time to reflect.
Mm-hmm. That's. I think that's absolutely right. Because I mean, not because, and because what if, like, when I'm not sleeping properly and I wake up either earlier than I'm supposed to, I am dead exhausting in my meeting.
Yeah,
Like it's even if I'm listening and I'm not comprehending, my brain's not there. And
not at your best.
imagine doing that if you're not your best and you're not all present in the moment.
Exactly.
Like, how many clients, leads, operations, quality, so
Mhm.
much you're gonna lose. It's better to do one client but do it well than it is to take on 15 clients and not do
Great.
them, like do it like bad. Like I don't think that's any good
Yeah.
for any entrepreneur ever.
And Harry, I would add to that, we have one life to lead, right? The
Exactly.
family that we have, the partners, the friends that we're with. So if we don't honor that, you can't get that time back. You cannot get yesterday back. You
Mm-hmm.
can't get an hour ago back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think we can be ambitious. We can be all in our businesses. And as leaders, we can have that vision. But if we miss our lives, to
Mm-hmm.
what end?
Yes, exactly. There's one thing to say it, but the other thing to do. I would love your um insights on how you do and how you manage your time and what you do with your
Yeah.
day.
And I'll be really honest and vulnerable with you and your audience. This is the new me because I used to be that person, right? I
Uh-huh.
was burning the candle at both ends and I thought I had this tremendous work ethic. But the truth is, I was really uh, terrible at it and I had no life ethic. I missed my life and I became sick and debilitated. And I also wasn't doing my best work. So, only because I burned out and lived to tell the tale do I now understand how dangerous that is. And I
Mhm.
wouldn't encourage anybody to do that, especially for an extended period of time. We need a real culture shift in this
Mhm.
world to say it's okay to work really hard. And now you need to live really hard. Maybe not hard is the right word, but live and enjoy your life.
Mhm. So what does your day look like every day now
Yeah.
currently?
So it's interesting because 5 days a week, sometimes six, but always five, I start my day with exercise. And
Mhm.
it has revolutionized my health and well being. It's a stress reliever, just like you said with pickleball. I'm in the zone. You can't be stressed when you're exercising. You
Mhm.
just can't. Your body can't do both. So
Yes.
it's a beautiful stress reliever. It's good for my cardiovascular system, but it's also good for my mental well being.
Mhm.
So I start the day with exercise. I work through the day, and sometimes there's a late client call at night with a different time zone, but I make sure that I'm enjoying things in between. And Harry, another thing that I try to do is only work for 90 minutes straight before I take a very brief break. It might be
Mhm.
5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes, but it's a way to reboot my brain
Mhm.
and have some clarity and give
Mhm.
my brain a chance to rest. So
Mhm.
even 5 minutes every 90 minutes has been a big improvement.
Okay. And how does your sleep come into
Yeah.
play there?
I love to sleep. I'm really good at it. And I commit to 8 hours every
Mhm.
night. Now, I am a better person with 8 hours of sleep.
Mhm. And we miss a big part, family or friends. Where does that fit in?
Yeah, really important. I think now that I'm in my own business, I can say that I'm done at a certain time of day and enjoy the time that I spend with my husband and really commit to that and share that precious time together and be with my family, and I don't feel guilty about it.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.